Serena Williams, an Olympic athlete whom some would even consider one of the best athletes in the world, has admitted to taking Ozempic to lose 30 pounds. Not only that, but she is now endorsing Ozempic. Is it any wonder that this comes as a surprise to many? Again, an Olympic athlete who knows what it takes to get in really good shape is taking Ozempic, and she's endorsing it. Well, I have some thoughts that I am going to share with you guys today about why I am so interested in this story and whether or not I think it's a good thing that celebrities are endorsing GLP-1. But before we get started, welcome back to my channel. My name is Whitney Holcomb. For those of you who are new here, I lost 100 pounds on my own when I was 14 years old, and I've kept it off for over 20 years. I'm author of the book 1 Year, 100 Pounds, which is about my weight loss story. It's how I did it, but it's also a tough love guide for how you can do it too. I also have my guided weight loss journals that are the same journaling method I used to lose 100 pounds in 1 year, and the same journaling method I use even now. So if you want to check my book out or my journals, I will leave the link below to my website in the description. But back to the story. So I thought I would go ahead and read the full article and then give my thoughts afterwards. It's a short article, so here we go. Serena Williams reveals she lost 31 pounds using weight loss medication. I feel great. Okay, so Serena Williams is opening up about the key to her success in her weight loss journey. The tennis champion, 43, revealed exclusively to People that she has been using a GLP-1 medication to help with weight loss and has since lost over 31 pounds. I feel great, she tells People. I feel really good and healthy. I feel light physically and light mentally. Williams says her struggle with weight began after she gave birth to her first daughter, Alexis Olympia, in 2017, and her body started to change postpartum. I never was able to get to the weight I needed to be, no matter what I did, no matter how much I trained, she explained. It was crazy because I'd never been in a place like that in my life where I worked so hard, ate so healthy, and could never get down to where I needed to be at. I had never taken shortcuts in my career and always worked really hard. I know what it takes to be the best, the 23-time Grand Slam champion says. So it was very frustrating to do all the same things and never be able to change that number on the scale or the way my body looked. Williams dealt with similar struggles after her second daughter, Adria River, was born in August 2023. She was able to lose a lot of weight in 2 weeks, but then remained stagnant afterwards. I never lost another pound, she quips. I just thought, gosh, I don't know if I would ever be able to get back to where I needed to be, the tennis star recalls. Knowing that she was great at maintaining a healthy lifestyle as a former professional athlete, Williams decided that it was time to try something different. She decided to turn to Ro, a direct-to-patient healthcare company, for additional support with the GLP-1 treatment. GLP-1 is short for glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor antagonist, which work in the brain to impact satiety. Popular brands include Ozempic and Mounjaro. Williams recognized that there's a lot of controversy surrounding the use of GLP-1 medications and admitted that she was very nervous about deciding to use one herself. I did a lot of research on it. I was like, is this a shortcut? What are the benefits? What are not the benefits? I really wanted to dive into it before I just did it, she says. After deciding it was the right choice for her, she consulted with a doctor through Ro, which recently made People's 100 companies careless, whatever, and was able to start the weekly injections about 6 months after Adira was born. Is it Adria or Adira? Okay, that's a pretty name. When she stopped breastfeeding in early 2024. They were very supportive and it was easy to get the medication, Williams says, who is now a celebrity patient ambassador for Ro. I lost over 31 pounds using my GLP-1 and I was really excited about that weight loss. The Olympic gold medalist says that since her weight loss, she feels better than ever. I can just do more. I'm more active. My joints don't hurt as much. I just feel like something as simple as getting down is a lot easier for me. And I do it a lot faster, she explains. I feel like I have a lot of energy and it's great. I just feel pretty good about it. There's a picture. She looks amazing. As someone who's been transparent throughout her entire athletic career, Williams tells People that it was important for her to share her journey publicly, constantly posting her workout videos on social media and knowing how to stay in shape. She says it's okay to recognize that you still need help and it's not a shortcut. GLP-1 helped me enhance everything that I was already doing, eating healthy and working out, whether it was a professional athlete at the top level of tennis or just going to the gym every day, she stresses. So I think that it's important for everyone to hear my story, and I feel like there's a lot that people can relate. Despite her recent weight loss, Williams boasts that the one thing that's remained the same is her confidence and self-love. Weight loss should never really change your self-image, she says. Women often experience judgment about their bodies at any size, and I'm no stranger to that, so I feel like you should love yourself at any size, at any look. I've never felt the pressure to maintain a certain appearance, she admits. I always felt comfortable at any size, whether I was a little heavier or not. I do feel like my body didn't like me at that weight. I had pain in my joints and pain in different areas just because of the extra weight that I'm not used to carrying since I had children. But the size I was before, there was nothing wrong with it. It's just not what I wanted to to have, she continues. I just knew that I wanted to be where I personally felt comfortable. That's why Williams has made it a point to have conversations about body image and body positivity with her young daughters, who she shares with her husband, with me going through what I've went through going up in public and blah, blah, blah. So she's just going on like, it's important that, yeah, my daughters think I look good, whatever, body positivity stuff. And let's see, now with the success of her GLP-1 medication, Williams says she'll keep taking the weekly injections as she needs it. She's also training for a half marathon and vowing to continue posting her selfies at the gym, which she calls her favorite place to be. Okay, so I have several thoughts about this, but let's just start with number one. This is a campaign for Roe. This is very clearly a publicity stunt. I mean, you can even see the pictures she took, of her doing the injections, which I find something a little bit silly about that. I don't know why. It's just like, it's like doing a whole photo shoot looking like sexy and fashionable while you're putting like injections into yourself. I find that I find it silly. I don't know. There's something off about it, in my opinion. She looks great. She looks very beautiful. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, there's definitely something about that. So I think it's kind of strange that she's going on this publicity tour for GLP-1. That's number one. And also don't quote me on this. I don't know for sure, but I did hear somewhere that her husband might be an investor in that company, Roe. So that's interesting. Okay, that's something to remember. Number one, though, is the fact that yes, she is a world-class athlete. She clearly knows what it takes to get in shape. I mean, look at her. Okay, she's been in shape her entire career, her entire life. She looks amazing, always has. So why is someone like her using GLP-1, right? Why is someone like her who I'm sure knows what it is to eat healthy, like she said, I'm sure she would know how weight loss works. Like she's not an idiot, right? She's a world-class athlete. So why is it that she's having so much trouble losing weight? There are just a few things about her statements that I just don't think really make sense. Okay. First off though, number one, like I always say about Ozempic, okay? Ozempic is not some miracle drug that changes your metabolism, okay? It doesn't really do anything in your body other than it affects your digestive system. So it makes you feel fuller longer so that you are less likely to crave foods. You don't have that food noise as much and you eat less. Okay. It also does, I know it helps, lower your blood sugar and it can affect different hormones in your body. But again, hormones related to satiety, right? And the food noise. But again, the main reason that you lose weight on Ozempic is because you take in fewer calories. That's why you lose weight. Okay, so again, it doesn't change your metabolism. It doesn't do anything else. You lose weight because you're in a calorie deficit. So I always think it's interesting when I hear people who talk about being on Ozempic, all these weight loss medications. Their number one thing they almost always say is, well, I tried everything before and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't lose weight. Again, my thing is, did you try a calorie deficit? Because that's how you lost weight with Ozempic, with Mounjaro. It's a calorie deficit, okay? Yes, the medication makes it easier to be in this calorie deficit because you feel fuller. You can eat less food and not worry about it, okay? So I think that's what gets me when these people, again, they claim that I tried everything, I just couldn't do it. It was only this medication that could help me. The problem wasn't them, right? Now, to be fair, I don't know if, some of these people, when they say hey, I tried everything, if they meant look, I know what a calorie deficit is. I did try the calorie deficit, but because my food noise is too strong, I'm just, or I just don't have the discipline, I couldn't do it. I couldn't stay consistent. Okay, that's different. Okay, I understand that. But I don't think that a lot of people, when they say, oh, I tried everything and it didn't work, I don't think they actually really understand that the only reason the Mounjaro worked or Ozempic worked or whatever is because of a calorie deficit. So again, there was nothing wrong with their body before. It was clearly something they were doing if they weren't losing weight. They just weren't in a calorie deficit, right? I don't know how many times I can say it. You have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. If you lost weight while on Ozempic or Mounjaro, you were in a calorie deficit, which again means that any of the reasons, you claimed before, it was hormones, it was this, it was that, it just can't be true because you lost the weight with Ozempic. If that were true, you wouldn't have lost the weight with Ozempic, right? So when it comes to Serena Williams, like I said, I don't think she's an idiot. I don't think you can be in her place and be an idiot, right? She's also not stranger to the fitness world. So I'm sure she knows what it takes to lose weight. So the fact that she's saying she was having trouble doing it and no matter what she did, it wasn't working is just a little bit strange to me. So I think it's either one of two things, or one of three things, I should say. So number one, maybe she really didn't take Ozempic at all. This is all just a big publicity stunt. It's an endorsement. Like I said, I think her husband has, some kind of stake in the company. She's getting paid for it. So she's never really on it, but she's like, hey, I'm going to take the money because I'm retired. Okay, there's that. I don't think that's the most likely thing. I don't think she would do that, like just totally lie. But one thing she could do is maybe she took like one jab, just enough so she could say like, hey, I used it and now I can endorse it, right? I don't know. Maybe it's something like that. The second thing is maybe she knows how to lose weight, but she's just lazy and is just like, F it, I'm retired. Like, I know that it takes a lot of work. I know what to do it, but I just want some help because I'm tired. I'm over it. I'm 43, right? That could be the reason. And I totally understand that. Like, I don't fault people for doing whatever they want to do with their body. I guess like at least be honest about it. Or the third reason could be maybe she actually really doesn't know what it takes to lose weight because she's never had to before. And of course, there's always the fact that, look, she is 43 and she just had the babies. And I know I just said that, okay, hormones don't, keep you from losing weight, but there are different changes, in your body that can affect your weight loss. Okay. So for sure, there's stuff going on, especially postpartum. She could be getting close to a menopause as well. So for sure, there might be something chemically kind of imbalanced in there that was making it harder for her than normal, which leads me to today's sponsor, LabCorp On Demand. Losing weight mainly comes down to lifestyle, eating right, and exercising. But sometimes we have other things going on in our body that may be affecting our weight loss efforts. Symptoms like fatigue, low energy, or trouble keeping weight off could be a sign of a bigger internal issue. When I first discovered that I had food allergies, I had no idea that the GI issues I'd had since I was a kid were caused by food sensitivities. I didn't know why I was having strange reactions to foods I'd eaten in the past, and the symptoms were starting to affect my workouts. Overall, I just didn't feel great. After getting lab work done, I discovered that I was allergic or sensitive to over a dozen different foods. And it was those food sensitivities that were making me feel just blah. And you know what I always say, if you suspect that there really is an issue keeping you from losing weight, then just get it checked out. Today's sponsor, LabCorp On Demand, makes that easier than ever to do with the food allergy test. Get checked for the most common food sensitivities and allergies, including wheat, meat, fish, and soy. Find out if the blah symptoms you've been experiencing all come down to what you're eating. But that's not all. LabCorp On Demand has over 80 different lab tests that you can purchase on your own, like the Women's Health Test, which will give you insight on your general health, including your diabetes risk and thyroid stimulating hormone. Go to trylco.com/Whitney Holcomb and use code Whitney Holcomb for 20% off select lab tests, including the Women's Health Test and food allergy test. Then make an appointment or walk into one of LabCorp's 2,000 plus patient service centers for sample collection. No doctor's appointment necessary. Your sample will be collected using the same methods as your doctor's office. No need to prick your own finger. Testing is performed at LabCorp's CAP-accredited, CLIA-certified laboratories that typically process over 3 million samples every week. You can skip the waiting room and wait in your car or outside until the lab technician is ready to see you. You'll be notified by email when your results are ready as early as the next day. You'll be able to view your easy-to-read lab results online in your LabCorp patient account. For results that require prompt attention, you may be notified by phone. And when I say that your result will be ready as soon as the next day, I mean it. When I got my lab work done at LabCorp, not only was I in and out within 5 minutes, but I got my results in less than 24 hours. It was literally the fastest and most painless lab work I'd ever gotten done. If you've been struggling with weight loss, feeling fatigued, or noticing symptoms you just can't explain, don't guess and don't wait. Get answers. With LabCorp On Demand, you can take control of your health, uncover what's actually going on inside your body, and make the changes you need to feel your best. Go to trylco.com/Whitney Holcomb and use code Whitney Holcomb to get 20% off select test. But back to the third point I made about her, maybe she just really doesn't know how to lose weight. Again, I would think that this would be kind of crazy, but I will say there is something about people, like naturally skinny people, sometimes even these athletes, right, have likely never counted a calorie before in their life. Like, I'm sure that we all know these people or have known these people. Like, okay, think about like back in high school when it was like the school jocks or whatever who were always working out and they were always, in sports. And yeah, they never cared about their weight because they always stayed thin or in shape. They ate whatever they wanted to. Like, they never had to think about calories, right? Fast forward to a few years later in college and they start gaining weight, right? It's called like the freshman 15. And all of a sudden it's because they're not at home anymore. They're not doing the sports all the time like they were. They have more demanding lifestyles, usually more sedentary lifestyles. So they can't just go out and go for a workout. They're not in sports anymore. But mostly it's that they never changed their eating habits from when they were super active. So again, they were brought up eating whatever they wanted and it never mattered because they were so active. But now that they're in a different situation, they're eating the same. And because they never had to learn to count calories, never had to think about it. It's just like the weight just comes up all of a sudden. They're like, I don't know. And these are the people who are like, I don't get it. I'm eating the exact same as I did before and I'm gaining weight. It's like, yeah, that's the problem. You're eating the exact same as you did before. And that's why you're gaining weight, because you're not as active as you were before. Your lifestyle is different, right? So I can imagine, like even in someone Serena Williams' case, again, she was an Olympic athlete, okay? She had a very demanding workout schedule. I'm sure she always ate pretty healthy because you kind of have to when you're at that level, but I'm sure she never worried about calories. She probably never had to. Again, like she said, like she never really thought much about her body because she was always fit. Right? She was always fit. She was always active. It was easy for her to maintain a fit physique. And she wasn't a model, right? She was an athlete. So she wasn't worried about, okay, a few extra pounds of vanity weight here and there. She's just like, yeah, I stay in shape for my sport, right? Which is awesome. But now fast forward to her being in her 40s, she's retired from her career and now she's having kids. Her lifestyle has changed completely, but I'm sure her eating hasn't changed. And if you noticed in the article, she said, look, I know what it takes to work out and I'm eating really healthy and all the things I was doing before just isn't cutting it. Well, I wonder if, it's not, because you're not really paying attention to the calorie deficit. Because again, you can eat really healthy and still work out, do all those things. But if you're not in a calorie deficit, you're not going to lose weight. Like eating healthy does not equate to being a calorie deficit. You know what I mean? Eating healthy and working out does not automatically mean you're going to lose weight. I wish it did, right? But it doesn't. Unfortunately, it still comes down to calories, and healthy foods have calories too, right? Like you can't out-train a bad diet. So I don't know, with Serena Williams, is that possibly the case? Possibly. However, again, I still find it very strange because she is who she is. Clearly, she works out all the time. I don't know. Again, she can't be an idiot. So it is very strange that she's having this problem at all, okay? My personal opinion, I think that it has more to do with either, like I said, it's just for the endorsement, or it is that she's just like, hey, this is easy. Why not just take a jab, make my job easier? And look, I totally get it. Okay, she's at that place in her career. Like she said, she's never taken shortcuts for anything. She's not opposed to the hard work. She's still working hard in the gym. You can tell she's in incredible shape, but she's also probably like, I just don't want to have to try so hard. So I get it, right? I can't fault her for that. But what I would fault her for though, is possibly lying about it, right? Especially when you are endorsing a product like this. And I do also have issues with her endorsing it because I just don't think that Ozempic or the use of Ozempic should be so normalized, especially for people like her even who were only 30 pounds overweight. Now I know that she did say like, okay, like it was hard on my joints and I just didn't feel good. And I totally understand that. And I totally believe that. Like I had my own weight loss journey. I lost about 30 pounds, okay, like the exact same amount, like the past few years, right? Even I can tell a difference too. Again, I technically by the BMI, I was not overweight, but even on the BMI though, I think I was pushing it. I think I was 160, right? But yeah, I wasn't severely overweight, but I wasn't a healthy 160, okay? Like, I wish I could say, oh, it was all muscle. It wasn't, okay? I was working out still a lot. I was training for a half marathon, but I was eating like crap. I was drinking a lot more alcohol. I wasn't as healthy, okay? And it was affecting, my entire life. It really was. I didn't feel good. I didn't think I looked good. And I was just actually so surprised when I lost the first 10 pounds, how much that affected my runs. When I went for a run, like after the first 10 pounds, I was like, wow, like It just felt so much easier than when I had been running and training for the half marathon at 160. Like, it was really kind of incredible. Like, I remember like starting to train for that half marathon. I hadn't run in a while, but I thought, okay, I'll just jump right back into this because I'd been a runner in the past. I'd run marathons in the past, and so I thought, oh yeah, this will be easy. I'll get in shape really quickly. I really didn't. I would say like that whole like half marathon training was pretty horrible. Like, part of it obviously was because I was probably not eating right, and like I said, I was drinking too much wine. But just by simply losing that 10 pounds, it was a world of difference on my runs. So anyway, I do believe her when she says like it didn't feel good, for sure. But back to the point about not making Ozempic like just so commonplace. Look, I am not against Ozempic. I think that it can be a great tool for many people. I don't think it should be normalized as the solution to obesity. I just don't, because what you're going to have is a lot of people who are not like Serena Williams, who are not going to just use it as a tool and continue to eat healthy and work out. A lot of people take it because they're like, oh, well, this is great. I can take it, I'll lose weight, and I don't have to really change my lifestyle. Okay, and then what happens? They get on this medication. Yeah, they don't change their lifestyle. They still eat like crap. They still don't work out. They'll lose the weight, which is awesome for them. But then when they have to get off the medication, which they inevitably do because of either side effects, okay, or that the fact that they can't afford it anymore because it is expensive, they get off the medication and then they gain all the weight back because they never actually learned how to be a healthy person. They didn't learn how to eat right. They, didn't start an exercise routine. And so they're back where they started. And then they go back into this thing like, oh, see, like I just can't lose weight. I'm meant to be fat forever. This is just my genetics. It's not. It's just the fact that you never had to learn. And so you're exactly where you were before. Like, it is just so crazy to me now that this medication is just being given out. Like recreationally. It really is. Before it was like you had to be severely overweight for a doctor to prescribe it for you, but now you don't. And it's not even just for people like Serena Williams, who clearly is a celebrity and she's, wealthy. So of course they can always get the medication, right? Normal people, it was usually harder. Not anymore. I have a personal story. I know a friend of mine who I would say, she was, I guess technically on the BMI, she was a little bit overweight, but she wasn't really, if you know what I mean. Like she had some weird symptoms. Like a lot of gut issues, and it was just making her feel really bad, and she'd gained the weight, and even though she was still exercising, and she went to the doctor and told the doctor, and the first thing the doctor wanted to do was just give her Ozempic. Just like that, didn't want to address the core issues. And my friend was like, I can't believe like you're not even trying to address the issues. Like, I don't want Ozempic. Like, she knows how to lose weight. She's done it before. Yeah. And again, she was not like really overweight. Like, she just wasn't, right? But the fact that the doctor was just like, here, like, just take it like it's a vitamin, like a daily vitamin. So clearly doctors are getting kickbacks for this medication. That's just clear. Like, doctors are loving this right now because they're making money from it. Okay. That's what it is. Healthcare is a business. Okay. And I know they are in cahoots with the big food companies. Okay. Big pharma and big food, they feed off of each other because, oh, guess what? Like, big food companies make all these foods, get us addicted to them, get us fat, and give us heart problems, high blood pressure, and then the medical industry has to step in and fix it. So they love each other. They give each other so much business. And that's why I think it's harmful to be promoting this stuff. Like, it's just, it's just so casual. And, and she's doing these photo shoots where she looks really gorgeous and she's like, sexily like injecting herself with this medication. Like, I find that a little strange. It's a little off-putting in my opinion. I also think that, what is the messaging saying? I think it's even worse in her case because she's such an athlete, right? And people will be like, oh my God, well, Serena Williams, if she needs GLP-1 to lose weight, like, then I must need it because I don't work out as hard as her. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah, for sure. That must be weight loss is like impossible for the average person. So that's my whole issue with Serena Williams doing this with this company Roe. Again, another reason that I don't know that I really believe that she's even using this company is, again, Serena Williams does not have to go through that company to get GLP-1. Okay, she is an Olympic athlete. She's rich. She's wealthy. She's famous. She has her own personal doctor on demand. Okay, she would not have to go to some kind of like company like that, like a Hims and Hers, I think we just think is like what Roe is, to do that. She just goes to her personal doctor to get the prescription. So This is very clearly, this whole thing is just a big endorsement. It's a big publicity stunt. And it's just unfortunate because, everyone's going to be making lots of money off of this. She is, her husband is, the company, Roe is. Meanwhile, more people are going to be getting this drug, which, by the way, we don't know the long-term side effects of it, really, at least not, being used like this. So who knows what's really going to happen to these people who are taking it regularly now, right, in the future. I don't know, hopefully nothing too serious. But I think, again, this is just wrong for, us as a society not really learning, again, how to be healthy. I don't think this is helping the obesity epidemic whatsoever. Not really. I think it's a short fix, right? I think we're going to see drop in obesity for a little bit, but it's going to steadily rise back up. Because of this reason, because these people, many people, I'm not saying everyone, but many people are just taking it like a get out of jail free card, you know what I mean? And they're not using it as a tool to help them change their life, which I think is how it should be intended or was intended to be used as. But we know that many people are not doing that. And then finally, the last thing I have to touch on, because of course she's a celebrity and they have to, do the whole body positivity thing. Again, when she's talking about, I didn't care about what I looked like, not at all, but I had to lose the 30 pounds for my health. And, there's nothing wrong with my body before, but, my joints were aching. So 2 things. Number 1, why? Why do you have to say that? Like, I think it's totally fine if you want to say, I wanted to lose 30 pounds because that's where I felt best at. That's why I looked my best at. I wanted to get back to that, right? Like, nothing wrong with that. Number 2, okay, again, this is weird. The body positivity, it goes back and forth all the time. They always want to say, healthy at every size, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing wrong with being fat, but clearly there is something wrong with being fat if it doesn't make you healthy. So again, she's saying, I liked how I looked, but my joints were aching and I was, I couldn't move as much. Okay, so there was something wrong with you being 30 pounds heavier then. Again, why can't we just admit that? Like, again, I just don't believe people when they try to tell you that, no, of course I was happy when I was bigger, or this and that, but I had to do it for my health. No, you clearly were not happy. You clearly weren't. Especially if it was affecting your health, okay? And we can just admit that. We can admit that you look better now, that you lost the weight, okay? I think that we can say the same thing for when people are really skinny. Have you ever seen anyone who had like one of those like under eating problems, right? Where they recovered and they're like, I know I loved my body back then too, but I just feel so much better now that I'm healthy, now that I'm at a healthy weight. No, because it didn't look good, because it's not healthy. It's not right, okay? They're 2 different sides of the spectrum, but they're the same thing. So anyway, I had to comment on that too. But yeah, I don't know. I am curious to see what you guys think. These are just my thoughts. What do you think? Is this inspiring? Do we believe her? Do we really think she needed to take the GLP-1? Is this really mostly just for money? And do you think that this is that big a deal that she's promoting it? Do you think that this is good for society or the weight loss industry as a whole? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have not yet subscribed, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more content like this, and I will see you guys next time.